Welcome back to another video. My name is Steph, if you don't know, and today I really want to talk about the power of intentions and the power of manifestation. So I do have a cup of peppermint tea. I'm just sitting on the floor in my bedroom because I just want this to be a really chilled, relaxed conversation. At the beginning of this year, I set the intention that I really wanted to do a lot of self-growth this year. And not only that, I also wanted to dive in deeper in regards to learning more about spirituality, the power of the mind, and also sharing that information that I've learned. So I shared a picture on my Instagram at the beginning of this year where it pretty much said the whole focus for my year, like my intention for the year, is to learn and share. And I just wanted to share a little bit of a story with you today, just how the power of intentions, setting intentions, and then how that manifests into your life has happened to me recently. So like I said, I set the intention that I really wanted to dig in and just break down the barriers that I have within me. So I ended up making an appointment with my kinesiologist in January sometime, and we were talking about things that I had identified from my childhood that I felt like was affecting me in my adult life, and it actually was. So we were digging in deeper into that piece of work, and I realized and had this big revelation that based on emotions that I felt when I was a child, I've used that to make decisions and choices throughout my entire life. And when I realized that, I just had this massive revelation. I just burst into tears and I just started crying. And he encouraged that emotion to come out, because what we also realized was I'm not very good at just being with my feelings. I'm very good at suppressing feelings that I don't want to deal with or I don't want to acknowledge. And a good way that I've done that is to just be in denial, or I've just pushed them down so far through just keeping myself busy, picking myself up and going, well, I need to stay positive, I need to be strong, and I need to move forward. And I feel like that is something that's very much encouraged this day and age, is for us to be strong and not deal with our emotions as they arise. And that was the conversation that we kind of had towards the end of the session, was that I need to learn to be more comfortable with emotions and feelings as they arise and not be judgmental and not try to fix them. And the very next week, I had a great example of where the universe was really testing me on this. So something happened that made me upset, and my instant reaction was, I'm sad, woe is me, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't be feeling this way. Get back to what you were doing, because you shouldn't even be feeling this way. And then I felt guilty for feeling the sadness about it. And then I had to stop myself. About a minute later, I was like, hold on, no, I need to just be in this moment and just be with the emotion so I can deal with it and it not be suppressed into my body. And then my body won't hold on to that emotion and I can move forward freely. So I ended up just getting a journal and a pen. I just started writing it out, and I ended up getting a little bit emotional, but it was from gratitude. I felt like I was actually dealing with the emotion at the time, and it felt very freeing. So I absolutely loved that. And then a few weeks later, I went back for a follow-up appointment just to see how I was going and to keep continuing those conversations that we were having. And a big thing that I've really found coming out of my kinesiology appointments and just coaching that I've been getting and just books and that kind of thing is that there is actually no good or bad. And those are labels that we give things based on our perception. So if we don't like someone because we think they're a bad person, that's because we've perceived them as a bad person. And we've felt an emotion that we don't like because we have labeled it as a bad emotion. Whereas at the end of the day, it's an emotion. They're all emotions. None are good, none are bad. But yes, my second appointment with my kinesiologist, we were just continuing those conversations. And at the very end, we did a very deep meditation. And the deep meditation involved in my inner voice in being quiet. So, you know, when you're just sitting in silence and you're just constantly thinking about stuff, or even if you're not thinking about anything with intention, you're thinking about or you're observing your surroundings. So it might be that you're getting into your car and you've unlocked the door, and in your mind you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the car, and then I'm gonna get in the car, and then I've got to go to the shops, and then I've got to pick up this, and then I'm gonna go to work, and then by the time I get to work I need to remember to call this person. All of this goes through your mind. Some people more than others, and that's okay. In that meditation, I felt what it's supposed to feel like, which is just allowing your thoughts to be observations. So instead of thinking about what you're thinking, which sounds weird, I hope that makes sense, you're actually observing those thoughts. So it's like you've kind of removed them, and then eventually, once I removed them from my head, it actually got to the point where I wasn't really thinking about anything. I was literally silent, and all I was doing was focusing on my breath. And when I came out of that meditation, I felt amazing. I literally felt so relaxed and so calm and so at peace. I had no internal thoughts going on. And I looked at my kinesiologist and I was just like, I literally had been sitting there in silence for a couple of minutes. And I just said, I don't know what to say. I've got nothing to say. And he just smiled and he goes, that's pretty much me most of the time. Just that inner calmness. And I thrived off of it. I felt amazing after that session. And then this is where I'm saying intention and manifesting into my life, because I said I was ready to dig in and get into that stage. Because when I was leaving the appointment, he said, are you ready for this? And I said, yes. And then a couple of days later, I ended up downloading a book called The Untethered Soul on Audible, and I started listening to it. And no joke, he was talking about, within the first 2 chapters, he was talking about the whole inner voice and how to externalize that inner voice and observe it from like a third party perspective. And then a few days after I started reading that book, I heard Tom listening to like a mini documentary on YouTube, and it was based on the Wim Hof method. And Wim Hof is someone who has broken a bunch of world records and does this really insane things that people just don't think the body can physically cope with. And the whole method behind it is that he believes that your mind is stronger than anything. And he talks about meditation, breathing techniques, and also submerging into like ice cold water, like ice baths. He got this group of people without any training in his method. So before he even trained them on meditation or the breathing techniques, he had them spending 10 minutes in ice cold water. And they say after a couple of minutes, you end up getting, I think it's hypothermia or something like that. And he had them in there for 10 minutes. And that was before he'd even trained them in anything that he would normally take other people through. Normally there would be days of like meditation and breathing and slowly getting into water for like a minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. And he got them straight in there. It was crazy. But that is just proof that the power of the mind is just that. And I don't want to go into too much detail. I think I'm going into too much detail about what I've been taking away from these things. But I just wanted to use this as an example of just how powerful setting an intention is. I set the intention that I was going to really break myself down this year and dig so deep and just rebuild myself. I just can't explain it. And all these things, once I said yes, that I was ready to do this, that I was going to deal with my emotions, I was going to deal with all the blockages within my mind, within my body, and I was going to really learn about the power of the mind. The moment I said yes was when all these things started popping up in my life within a matter of weeks. And that's pretty much like the moral of this video. The the story, wrapping it all up, it's all about setting the right intentions and the difference between an intention versus a desire. So desiring to be a certain person or to be a certain way isn't the same as having the intention to become that person. And the major key difference there is action. So you might have the desire to be healthy and fit, but if you don't have the intention to do it and actually take the action to do it, then that's not going to happen. So manifesting into your life by setting intentions is very, very real. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and let me know so I can do more videos like this. Until my next upload, take care and I will see you very soon. Bye.